Hey, Dan Meyer here, and I'm back once again to talk to you one more time about what I learned when I left Wells Fargo and why I left Wells Fargo. So I had spent about a year before I left Wells Fargo planning to leave Wells Fargo. I made some connections, I set up a business, I traveled to the Philippines to do some scouting around because my idea was to take my 15 years of data analytics skill and use that to launch an analytics training company in the Philippines, which at the time made a lot of sense because analytics was something that was still pretty new and there weren't many people teaching it, and there was a big demand in the call center industry. There are millions of Filipinos working in customer service, 1-800, you probably get a Filipino call center agent. So they all need data in their businesses, right? And there's opportunities to do training. So I said, okay, cool, I'm gonna leave Wells Fargo and I'm gonna set up my first business. And I did it, and it was a beautiful disaster. I did everything wrong and very few things right, not because I wasn't prepared, not because I didn't try. I just couldn't anticipate all the lessons you're going to learn. Now, some of you are going to get out there and launch your first business and be successful, and kudos to you. But most of you are probably going to fail your first attempt. Just because going from a corporate job to entrepreneurship, it's a whole different world, right? You have to self-motivate, you have to build all your own relationships, you have to do things on your own budget, and all these things could cause you to make poor choices or bad choices because you need to unlearn what you learned working in that corporate environment, and you have to learn how to be an entrepreneur. And even if you take a course or you pay a coach, there's no guarantee that you're actually going to be able to avail of those lessons because you just get in your own way sometimes. My first big learning from my first failure was have good partners. The first people I partnered with didn't have the money that I did. They weren't willing to put in as much work as I did. I don't think they were necessarily trying to consciously take advantage of me, but they were leaning on me to do everything. So I did everything. I did all the work, I put in all the money, and the business wasn't sustainable because we were buying things we didn't need. We were overspending on staff, we were overspending on an office, we overspent on marketing budget, all because I just didn't know how much it would take to get the things done. I didn't know really how many staff I really needed. I didn't really know how much marketing expenses I should allocate. I didn't know what kind of office I really needed. And so I learned all those lessons, right? So the wrong partners and the wrong people that you're around can drag you down. Know how to budget, right? So I'm good with money. I don't necessarily jack up my credit cards too much, and I generally have money in my savings account. So I had plenty of money, but I burned through it really quickly because I didn't budget. And like I mentioned, when you have the wrong partners, a lot of times they talk you into spending money on the wrong things. So you want to think about really do the analysis on what things cost. One area I did not do well was cost assessments, right? Doing the ability to analyze the cost and look at the ways to save. I just spent money because I thought it was a good idea at the time. I take risks. I like to jump in the deep end. I tend to trust people too much, and those things can burn me. So I had to learn how to curb some of those personality traits to be not necessarily less trusting, but smarter about who I trusted. And this is probably the most important lesson I learned. I learned that I couldn't do all the marketing and all the payroll and all the finance and all the HR stuff. And I couldn't do all of the other things in my business. I wanted to learn it all, and I had a good knowledge about everything I was trying, but I couldn't just do it all. I didn't have time. So I was burning 40 hours a week. It was really hurt my personal life when I launched my business. I had some struggles, and they kind of all came to a head when the business failed. But the first thing I did when I launched my second business, the first thing I did was I identified what I needed to outsource, what I needed to delegate to a couple virtual employees. I delegated the lead generation and the account setup, right? I delegated some of the marketing efforts, the social media marketing efforts, freeing me up to focus on creating content and doing face-to-face meetings. And once my team would set up appointments for me, then I would just go there. I wouldn't have to set them up myself, right? So I would travel to every Starbucks around Manila to meet with people, but my team would pre-qualify the people I'm meeting with, whereas before I would just go meet with everybody. Things like this, when you learn to delegate, will really help you. So the things that I learned from Wells Fargo once I left were really to find the right partners, to learn how to budget effectively, and to make sure you don't try to do it all yourself, to delegate some of the work. When you do these things, you're going to be much more successful. If you want to know more about how, feel free to drop a comment or send me a message. Please subscribe to our channel. And if you're looking to hire a virtual assistant to help you launch your business, we got your back. That's my talk for today. Now, please get out there and have a super amazing, awesome, crazy, good day. Take care.